This is Lisa Steinberg from Starry Constellation Magazine, and I am joined today by the very charming and handsome Nestor Carbonell. Thank you so
Way
much
too
for being here.
kind. Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, and thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I am such a longtime fan. I know it might be a little late, but I want to definitely congratulate you on your Emmy for Shogun. That series was so captivating, and you were just absolutely remarkable in
Appreciate
that. And I was over the moon and like so proud for you getting to see you get to accept the award, and it's just so
it.
deserving.
Thank you so much. That was another extraordinary experience to get to work with that character, with the incredible writers, and the director as well. That was an extraordinary experience, and true escapism. They built these three villages in Vancouver to replicate that time period in Japan, and it was extraordinary to whenever as an actor you get to dive into a character that is so far from our time period and anything you might have done before. So it was really special. Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, you really, you like you said, you really were transported. I mean, like these are historical times that you're a part of, and you're recreating these footprints in history.
Yeah, and we were supported by, I mean, incredible crew. Many were flown from Japan. They're experts in that time period. I got to work with Japanese dialect coach and learn some Japanese, and all that good stuff that as an actor, especially young actors starting out, these are the things that you hope to do someday. And I was lucky enough to be a part of it.
And now we're in trans we're transporting ourselves forward into the future here now that we're in present at least for this new project, the new year 2026, excuse me.
Yeah.
You're such a busy man. You just got a Law and Order, your episode of Law and Order that you directed just premiered and aired. Now we've got The Rip coming out here on Netflix. Before that was The Morning Show. I mean, my goodness,
No,
you're such a
listen, at least I'm very lucky, very, very lucky, but really fortunate to be, working in both capacities as a director, as an actor, and to work with someone like Joe Carnahan. Again, I worked with Joe many years ago on a film called Smoking Aces, and I worked with him after that on a show called State of Affairs, and now to get to work with him on The Rip, it's a treat. It's a dream. It truly, he's an extraordinary talent and a very generous man. And it's always, a delight to get to work with someone like Joe. Amazing.
I mean, we talk about, directing Law and Order, and then you're talking about doing acting through this Netflix movie, The Rip.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what really fuels each type of creative outlet for you, and how do you kind of choose what work you want to take on as far as like, is it a script that comes to you that, or you find something that you like to direct? How does that work?
Well, I was very lucky when I worked on Bates Motel. Carlton Cuse, who produced it, wrote on it, and Carrie Aaron both created that show. They opened the door for me to direct. Carlton really, made that happen for me while I was acting on Bates Motel, and that opened. I never really thought I'd be directing. I always thought I'd focus more on acting, and I like to write as well. But that was a door that they were so generous enough to open for me, and I loved it so much that I just, getting to, as an actor, you go into a script with a very sort of myopic view from your character's point of view, and that is your job to, propel the story forward through the vantage point of your character. And as a director, yeah, you naturally have to be omniscient, and you have to sort of see everybody's perspective, but all in an effort to tell the principal theme of the story that the writer's advancing. And so, for me to be able to switch hats, to be able to throw that hat of a director on and then go back to acting, that's like a dream. It's you're working different sort of creative muscles, if you will. And then to work with the caliber of writers, I mean, to get to working with the Rick Eden, and on his show on Law and Order, to make it's such an incredible, model that show is, in terms of tackling sort of, the legal aspects of it and the police aspects of things, and then human themes that they tackle, throughout. That's always phenomenal to get to where I've now done 4 episodes for them, and every experience is different, and the crew is fun. I always learn so much for any people in this field starting out. To me, if there's anything I've learned, is to hold on to the notion of learning. You never stop learning. I learn from every experience, either whether I'm directing or acting. There's always something to learn, and I've learned so much from that crew and that cast. So to me, those are gifts. They're just gifts to keep on giving.
Is that really then what kind of just fuels you in each of these different hats and fields for you as well, that it's this constant evolution of learning and getting something new?
I think so. And I think, I came to this a little late. I did a show many years ago when I started out called Suddenly Susan. And I worked with a great cast there. And one of the cast members was Barbara Barry, who played Brooke Shields' Nana, the grandmother. And, we were doing a scene once, and Barbara Barry was struggling with the scene in the sense that she didn't know what it was about. And I was like, well, we're just trying to make people laugh. And she's like, no, but what does it say about the human condition? And it stopped me for a second, and it wasn't until years later that I realized she's right. No matter whether you're doing a comedy and it feels silly or frivolous or something heavy-handed, if it doesn't say something or push the story somewhere to something about the human condition, it's just sort of empty. And so I've held on to what Barbara Barry said that day, so whatever I do, whether I'm directing or writing or acting, I'm trying to see if I'm saying something interesting, truthful about the human condition, because that's the stuff that has staying power. I mean, we're here to entertain, as writers, directors, actors, but if you say something about the human condition, you're hitting on something truthful that people can identify with, and that'll stay with them. And so that's kind of what I've tried to focus on.
That's so key, actually. I mean, when we watch, we try to have escapism as
Right.
well when you're the audience, but at the same time, there's something that's rooted in anything that you watch that you can either laugh at because it's something you know, or laugh at, or find something that's like a kernel that you're like, oh, I had that experience, or I know someone who had an experience, or that's such a human like that's such a human process, or there's always something there that's got a connection. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if it serves in any way to inspire somebody, I mean, great, fantastic. But principally, you hit it on the head. I mean, if it's relatable, and it touches someone because it's relatable, I think that's the best form of entertainment.
Well, switching to this incredible film that we're going to see you here shortly, The Rip for Netflix. You're going to be portraying, or we'll see you portraying Major Tom Vallejo.
Yeah,
What can you tell us about the character breakdown that you had received for him, maybe initially, and
sure.
what your thoughts were about maybe his background or how he was written as you sort of delve through the script?
Sure. No, great question. Thank you, Lisa. I've worked with Joe Carnahan before. I had the pleasure of working with him, and they called my agents. I was in the middle of shooting the morning show, but they were able kindly to both productions able to work out so that I could participate in the Rip, and it's a great role. Like Joe's such a bright guy. He's so smart and so creative, and all of his thrillers, all of his work is character driven. Even with all there's so many great twists, in this film, as there are in all of his work. But I think what makes his work stand out is it's all character driven, and every character, you might have seen this character in another film, Tom Vallejo, as a cop who is disgruntled or angry about something. But what I love about sort of the wrinkle in this character is that this is a guy who's sort of unabashed about the fact that he is a political hack and that he doesn't care to state that openly, and that he's sort of running out the clock in his career as a major in this Miami Police Department, and he's there for his pension, and he's going to clock out when it's his time. And maybe he's had idealistic notions of fighting crime initially, but it's come to this. And that's what I love about Joe, and his work is that there's always something refreshing and new about a character that we haven't quite seen before, a take on a character. And that is essentially where we opened the film, was with this character, with Matt Damon's character, Dane, coming to him and saying, "Hey, look, one of our own was killed, and now the FBI is investigating us. Thinking it's us, and can you give us overtime to tackle this? Maybe we can join in the investigation." And my character's just checked out, checked out. You think he'd get pushed back, but he's checked out, and it's just such a refreshing thing that I haven't seen before, quite with a character like that. That to me was so much fun to get to play.
I mean, your character has this kind of bravado to him, and he's got this edge, but every character also has like an ounce of gray area to them also at
Yes.
the same time too. And that's what keeps this new and fresh as well, is that you don't know which like that grain or that little element of each person that's that gray that's going to show themselves and when it's going to show themselves.
When it's going to show us. And that's what Joe does so well. It's like it comes out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, I didn't expect that. And you're right. And throughout the film, you'll see every character. Like you're like, wait a minute, is he or she who I think they are? Like what are we? And it keeps you guessing, which is phenomenal. And also, it's, as you said before, it's very human. It's very relatable. It's exploring that gray area to me is always the most interesting part of any character, because it's so human. We're not all black and white, and there's always some level of humor to all of this as well that Joe always injects, which is fun.
That's what really also makes it so on the edge of your seat, or like so palpable for me as well when you watch a film like this, is that again with those characters that you don't know where they're going to go, how far they're going to have to go, what are they
Right.
going to do in order to make whatever they means necessary, and
And what are they
when
hiding? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And what are they
exactly.
hiding, and from whom? And where are their allegiances, and do they shift? I agree with you. It's always, that's the best kind of thriller for me.
I mean, we have seen you take on these really diverse roles that test and showcase your incredible range of acting talent. That is so really absolutely impressive. They have this incredible balance of complexity and nuance that are really, really compelling. What draws you into or connects you to these types of characters?
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Listen, I'm lucky. It starts on the page. It really is there. And if it isn't fully on the page, I think that's always the fun for an actor. The challenge is to find, complexity. And often, it's, you're writing backstory that may not be on the page, and to bring about that complexity. And that's always fun. But I think, yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky. I mean, on so many projects, I've had the opportunity to work with these great writers who really write these very layered characters. I mean, I've worked with Carrie Aaron now twice, Carlton Cuse 3 or 4 times, Joe 3 times, Chris Nolan. I had the opportunity to work with him a couple of times. So getting to work with these phenomenally talented, creative people who write and direct characters that are so layered. I mean, and it starts with what's on the page. And as an actor, I mean, starting out, that's typically you start out in theater doing plays. We're spoiled, when we're starting out with these phenomenal writers, that have created these characters with nuance and range, and you don't always get that once you work in the professional field, because for different reasons. But when you get to work with such phenomenal writing, which I've had the opportunity to do, you want to honor it as much as you can, and if you can add something to it, even better. But like I said, I've been very lucky to work with such an enormously talented people.
This is such a gritty and literally dark film.
Yes,
In many different ways. It's just literally a dark film,
yes,
um, with especially the way that it is shot. Uh,
yes.
how does the lens that we are given with the film and the way that it's shot and captured add to the amplification of this building suspense, suspicion, tension, in a way that not just propels these characters, but also along with the cinematography, adds
Yeah.
those type of layers to the storytelling that's going on within the film.
It's enormous, the look of a film, and like you said, it's dark literally and figuratively. And I've learned that, just in my short experience as a director, how important it is to visually push the theme forward. It's great, obviously, as actors, we do our part. Every department does their part, but it became so apparent to me how important that was when I started directing. And what Joe does is so great, in terms of camera movement, in terms of pushing thriller elements, for the filmmakers out there, they all know this, just it's how you can dolly across a corner to build tension. There's a lot of on Bates Motel, when we were directing, we were encouraged to do push pull POVs, which is fancy way of saying is like you go behind the person coming around a corner, you pull them into the room, and then you do the POV shot to reveal something that may startle the audience. So those are great like devices that a lot of filmmakers do to use to push the thriller element, and Joe does it I mean, as good as anyone out in the business. And yeah, but the darkness of it, yeah, the handheld nature of shots, whether you're going handheld, steady cam, that all of that adds, it amplifies the mood. Another thing that Joe does, which is really amazing, that I have never seen other directors do, is he'll have music between setups. Like, it usually takes, the crew, a certain amount of time to set up shots between, and so he'll have music playing, and it is sort of integral, I think, to his filmmaking. Because at first I thought, oh, that's kind of nice, to sort of keeping these, like, no, it's nuanced. There's a certain kind of music that he's infusing for the entire crew to get behind, to have this sort of energy, this engine going for all of us. It's almost subliminal, and it's really phenomenal. He's very much aware of the engine of the film, and I fully appreciate that, as an actor and as a director.
Oh my gosh. I mean the lighting and like you said that
Yes.
any kind of tilt that it can offer adds to this tone and
Yeah.
this incredible intensity that that's again it's a building, it's building, it's building. And when that crescendo comes, you're not expecting these things to happen. You're on the edge of your couch, like I said, but you're also like, wow, I
Wow,
like
I didn't see. I know. Yeah,
exactly.
you're in it. He
You're
puts you
so
in there.
immersed into it.
You're
Yeah.
immersed. You're in there. You're in there with a grit. You're in there with feeling the tension. You're feeling all of that, and that is a tribute to him, completely. And obviously our phenomenal DP. But he's very much aware of that and wanting to put you in that headspace of whoever scene it is.
You sort of already kind of touched on it. I mean, I was going to ask what it was like for you all because this is such a huge caliber of cast with Matt and Ben and of
Oh
course
my,
Joe, like you're saying, but there's also Tiana and
oh my
Sasha
God.
and I mean,
Yeah.
this is an incredible cast for a Netflix film. And I wanted to ask a little bit about like what the atmosphere was like for you amongst everyone on set. But you're telling me about Joe and playing
Yes.
music and just kind of
Well,
like keeping you guys building, building, building while you're
absolutely.
waiting.
Yeah, well, exactly. I only had the opportunity to work, not only, but I mean, it was great to work with Matt. My work was with him on this film. I got to briefly meet everyone. We did a Zoom table read, so that was great to see everybody and meet, sort of. And Matt and Ben, I've known for a long, long time. I hadn't seen them in many years, so for me, it was really great to reunite with Matt. We went to school together, went to college together. We were friends in college, and I just lost touch with him over the years. But so it was really great to catch up with him and then get to work with him. We'd never done plays in college together, but we'd done scene work together. We'd been in class together, and so it was really fun to finally get to work with him. And in this capacity, I get to play his boss. That was fun. But yeah, but no, and Ben, I had been in other films that Ben had been in, but we never actually worked together. So I hope at some point we do get to work together. But it was really fun to get to work with Matt after after our history together.
Maybe they're gonna have to start switching it from like the 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon to like 6 degrees separation of like Nestor and Ben or Nestor and Dad, Nestor
Well,
and Joe with a train.
it would be fun. That would be, listen, that would be amazing. Thank you. I would love that.
We've discussed about the writing, how it is really so gripping, and
Yes.
the way that you all, as a cast, deliver this dialogue really also is a really big part of what makes this film so stand out as well. And I know you talked about, getting to work more with Matt directly, being portraying his boss, and wanted to ask a little bit about how you and Matt maybe together, or maybe even obviously separately, just kind of organically kind of created and constructed these palpable beats of tension that we get to see between the two of you as scene partners that also really immerses you into the story. Because if you're not having these like crushing moments or bashing,
Yeah.
type of, coming together, these
Yeah.
characters wouldn't be who they were either.
No, no, thank you. Listen, you know, it's a great question. I think a lot of that really hinges on Joe, and I remember he prepped us both sort of with some backstory he had on each character, some more history that wasn't necessarily on the page, and so that helps. It always helps to sort of have that. You come prepared with your own history, what you imagine their dynamic might have been, and there's a lot already on the page, but it certainly helps to have those big talks with Joe as they're setting up cameras right before to get a sense of where we are, where have we come from, what's our personal history, and what more do we know about these? What more can you tell us about what these characters you created? So that always helps having those talks. And then you find it on the day. You find it, you feel the stakes, you find it on the day, stepping into a set that's beautifully, dressed and also lit. All those things help. Wardrobe helps. It's amazing once you put all the layers on how much that helps an actor sort of get into what the spirit of the scene is. And then you come in with your objective, what you want from the other person, all those great things. One of the things that Joe does, it's so amazing, is that while he's very specific about each character and who they are, that he allows the actors a level of play. In fact, he encourages it. So while we remain mostly on book, there was always the notion that you could go off book and try something, and you didn't have like this sort of straitjacket that you have to say every and ah and acknowledge the punctuation, all that kind of stuff. So he's very alive to trying to find like moments that aren't necessarily scripted, but that you find on the day, and that is just a mark of an amazing filmmaker. That he knows what he wants, but he's also there to capture what might happen on the day. And so there's at least in the Zoom there was some improv going, and here and there, and some of it will stay, some of it won't. The best of it will stay, but it's always great as an actor to have that feeling that what's more important than the actual words is what's behind the words, what's underneath the words. And if some things happen, a look or some other expression happens, that's always great as long as it's in the moment and it coming off of what you're getting.
Yeah, I love when you can tell something is like very organic when it comes about because obviously, yes, there's a setup, a structure of,
Sure.
dialogue on a script, of course. Um, but when you get to kind of feel like you're in that moment and then feel what
Yeah.
the character is embodying and getting to kind of just scrap in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're scrapping, and if you throw a blow that wasn't scripted, but it lands and it makes sense, and the other one takes it and does something with it. I mean, that's where I think the best sort of filmmaking lives. The Safdie brothers are so good at this. You definitely feel like you're in the middle of something there, and it's messy, and Joe is very much like that. He encourages that sort of just keeping it alive, keeping it honest, keeping you guessing, keeping the actors guessing. I remember when I worked with him on Smoking Aces, I did a scene with Matthew Fox. It was a long scene, and Joe kept, it was scripted, it was beautifully scripted, but Joe kept interrupting us on the mic posing as a security guard, and Matt would have to pick it up and respond, and it wasn't scripted. He kept throwing obstacles in our way as actors. Put in a security guard that wasn't scripted there, getting coffee while we're having this intense thing. And it was all in an effort to keep us guessing, and Joe does that so well. He tries to keep it so it's the scene isn't stale. It's alive, and you have to adjust to it as an actor. And to me, that's just the best kind of filmmaking.
We're seeing more films like blockbuster type level of films coming to streaming platforms and being more accessible that way to the
Yeah,
audiences. Obviously, again, the RIP is coming to Netflix here shortly. What do you
yeah.
think it is about this platform of Netflix that makes it such a really good fit for the film?
Oh, I think it's phenomenal. I think for us to be able to stream movies like this, that you're right. Typically, you would see this, but to have this accessible, this to be able to pull the way that Netflix is tackling them. I think it's extraordinary. When I started back in the day, it was the few movies that you'd see on TV were movies of the week, that kind of thing. But to be able to get to the level of filmmakers like Joe Carnahan, actors like in this cast with Matt and Ben, Tiana, the entire cast is phenomenal. To see that, as a film made for streaming, that would have been unheard of when I started out. So it's a real treat. It's a real treat. And I think it's also being conscious of that, the landscape has changed, and the way people are consuming films and TV shows, it's being alive to the fact that, hey, we've got to make adjustments as an industry to what the public wants. I mean, believe me, I still love the idea of going to the theater, a popcorn, that experience. And I also love this experience too, that you're able to, in the comfort of your home or wherever you are, to watch a film of this caliber. That's amazing. That's extraordinary. So I love both. What can I say?
Yeah, I mean, was worried during the pandemic that, movie theaters were getting more and more closed down, and that experience, that's just so iconic, would be kind of
Yeah,
become obsolete
right.
because we weren't able to make it into these public places. And now, ever since like the pandemic, or at least before, movies have become more and more accessible. And yeah, I want to go to the theater and have, $12 popcorn and,
Sure.
$30 soda, and
Absolutely. And you'll pay for
$50
it.
ticket, or whatever. Like if you were going to a concert or whatever. But I also
Yeah,
love the fact that I don't have to get a babysitter, or I can just, like if I want to unwind after a long week on a Friday or a Saturday night, be able to
exactly.
just sit down in my own house
Yeah,
and pop my own popcorn, pop my
that's
own
exactly.
soda, hang out
Yeah,
and just enjoy a film for an hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever it may be, and just
absolutely. And
enjoy that in
popcorn.
the comfort
Right.
of your own home, and that luxury that you get where you don't have to drive, or you don't have to worry about this or that, like you can just be with your family, or you can
Right.
hang out with some friends, and you
Yeah,
guys can just have an evening or an afternoon or whenever you want to watch,
absolutely.
have
And
it
it's something,
so available.
oh, it's amazing. That's something that's not cost prohibitive, to be able to have that option is amazing. And also, but you're right. Post pandemic, I was concerned too. I was like, is this the end of, cinemas, filmmaking? And, thankfully it isn't, we still have that option on many occasions, to have that experience. But I do, yeah, I'm with you. I love the fact that we can stream. I love and stream amazing content. So it's an embarrassment of riches to have both.
What do you hope ultimately then from watching the RIP that fans or audiences at least take away from watching?
Oh, I think one of the things I'd love about the Rip, and I don't want to give away too much. Obviously, this is a phenomenal thriller, but there's a really beautiful emotional sort of through line through this film, and oh, I don't want to give away too much because the ending is so powerful. It's so powerful and moving, and it takes us to yet another dimension that I didn't see coming when I first read the script. Until I finished it, I go, oh my God, he went to this beautiful place in the end. And that to me is what I hope viewers take, is that there's something really, in addition to this being extraordinarily entertaining and gripping there's beautiful dynamics that Joe explores here, interpersonal ones and spiritual ones, and bigger sort of bigger themes, bigger picture themes that I think, to me, those are the lasting ones, and that's where this film in many ways separates it from other thrillers, certainly in that regard. And so I think, I know I'm being cryptic about this, but the ending is just, to me, it's so worth it. It's so beautiful, and I didn't see it coming until I first read it. So I hope that people get even more out of it than they expect in terms of it just being a straight thriller.
Yeah. Again, not to spoil anything, but when you wait to the end of the film, the all that's been building, all that's been keeping you on the edge, all those gray areas, all the darkness, the light, the gritty, whatever, like all of this, that payoff is there. And that's
Yeah,
what makes a good movie as well, is that you've spent this time that you have, like, again, one, like an hour and a half or 2 hours or
yeah,
whatever, that it's been worth this,
yes.
all of this payoff.
Exactly right. Yeah, you've invested 2 hours of your time, into these characters, into their journey, and yes, and you've been entertained, and that's great. If for whatever reason you joined, you wanted to click on the show or wanted to watch the film, I think you get even more than you bargained for at the end of it, and that's what I think is so beautiful, specifically beautiful about the Rip.
Well, we did at the beginning talk about how you're just an incredibly busy guy, with and in just the start of here of 2026. Is there anything else that you can share that's coming up that we can keep an eye on for work
Oh,
for you?
thank you, Lisa. Yeah, no, I was lucky enough to get to participate in a film through November and December, called Pedro Pan, which is a beautiful film about an operation that happened in the 1960s in Cuba and in Miami, where there was they were able to smuggle out 14,000 children through this operation, so that they wouldn't face indoctrination, during the revolution. And so it's a story that's really dear to my heart. It's very personal to me, and so I was lucky enough to participate in that. Excuse me, at the end of the year. So I don't know when, they're editing right now when that will come out, but it'll come out, hopefully in the next year or two. And then I'm excited to go back to the morning show, season 5. We're gearing up to start shooting that now, and I'm excited to be also a part of it as a director. I'll be directing this year as well, which I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm writing. I'm constantly writing. I'm writing. I have a great writing partner in Carlos Jacob, an actor and a writer himself, and we've collaborated on a project that we're hoping to get off the ground this year. So I'm trying to stay busy, and then the other film that'll be coming out in the spring is Ready or Not 2. That the sequel to Ready Now, that'll come out in the spring. I'm looking forward to that as well. But just trying to stay busy, and hopefully do my part in bringing this, something to the table that people want to watch.
Oh my gosh, I love the first. I love of Ready or Not, so I'm excited to see where this one goes.
Oh,
So
it's terrific. They're extraordinary filmmakers, both of them, yeah, no, I'm excited for that one to come out as well.
I was gonna, say, I wonder if do you have any new aspirations for 2026, but where are they gonna fit in all this?
Well, I mean, I have to say, I'm having so much fun directing as well that I'm really hoping to get this film that I co-wrote off the ground, because I would be ideally acting that as well. And I love the process, the entire process from writing all the way to the end, and to see a project that you've written through the end, to me is something I haven't done. I've directed other people's great work, but I'm hoping that we get to do this one. My writing partner and I get to do this one, and so that would be a personal dream of mine. So. But listen, Lisa, anytime I get to work in this business in any capacity, we all know how hard it is. It's a privilege. It really is a privilege. So no matter what the project is, how big or small the part is, getting to work, period, is a privilege. And we're in a tough, the business has seen a sharp contraction the last 2 years. So I'm just lucky to be working. I feel lucky to be working, period. But if I were able to realize this project that I co-wrote this year, that would be a huge blessing.
I'm going to put out the good vibes, manifest, do all
Thank
the
you.
good juju and stuff that I can, because
Appreciate it. Thank you.
you're one of my favorite actors because you
Oh,
do have this wonderful chameleon ability to immerse yourself into roles, and you just
thank you.
gravitate to your characters because they are so complex, because they're so compelling. But it's because you bring out these layers within the character, these nuances that is such a wonderful pleasure to get to watch you in whatever role we get to see you on screen, whether it's historically or
Oh, wow.
it's a gritty film or it's a character that is close to your heart. Or there's always something that I look forward to when I watch you on screen. So thank you for
Thank you so much.
making
That's
me
so
a
kind of you.
for all the wonderful work that you do within the industry. So I'm a big
Yes.
fan, and it's a wonderful opportunity to have the chance to talk to you. And again, just so proud that you got to win the Emmy for Shogun. It was so exceptional.
Thank you so much. That's so kind of you, Lisa. I really appreciate you. And I really appreciate you doing this. It really means a lot. Thank you so much.
It's again, I can only keep saying that it's just a pleasure and a privilege for me on this side of the coin to get to watch you and so much and to see you haven't been a fan of yours for so long and get to see the longevity of your career and how
Thank you.
incredible work that you continue to do both on and behind, both in front of and in behind the camera. I'm just really just a proud fan for you, and
That's
if I
amazing. Oh,
can just say to just continue to please bless
oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
and whatever your hands come across, we're looking forward to watch.
Well, I can't tell you how much that's really kind of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. I appreciate it. And I hope to be a part of bringing you something that you'll continue to enjoy or enjoy. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.